University of Mary Washington, with the Young Dems, with all the county committees, with so many old friends and new friends, and folks that I hope will be my friends by November. And it's in particular very honored to be here to support our next senator, Governor Tim Kaine. As some of you may know, I didn't have very far to go to get here. My wife Melody and I, we live about 3 blocks from here down on Mary Ball Street. And although I've spent the last several years bouncing around the world with the military, this really is home for me. I did, as Hap mentioned, moved out here with the family when I was 6 years old, and although there have been some journeys and some things that happened along the way, we're all still here. My parents, Mark and Michelle, my grandparents, I've got 5 younger siblings, their spouses, nieces and nephews, and I'd name all of them, but I only have 5 minutes up here, so I'll move on. But it is really a blessing to have so much family so close around me here. When I first tell people that I'm running for Congress, I usually get 2 questions. The first is, how old are you? I'll start with that. I'm 34, and as I always tell people, I'm the same age that Glenn Nye and Tom Perriello were when they ran and won in 2008 for Congress, so it can be done. And the second question people usually ask me is, why are you running for Congress? Why did you decide to do this? And I really started thinking about it in the early part of 2011 after seeing the Republicans take over the House of Representatives and seeing really what their vision was for the country. I was particularly motivated by the Paul Ryan budget that, as many of you know, that slashed Medicaid, slashed Pell Grants, and privatized and gutted Medicare, raising, which would have raised, if it had gone into law, the average senior's medical cost by $6,000 a year. And then it took those savings and put them into yet another big tax cut for people at the very top. And I knew that those weren't my values. I didn't think those were America's values, and so I started really thinking about a run at that point. But what really put me over the top was actually my service in Afghanistan. When I was over there, as Hap mentioned, we were working very closely with the Afghan government to set up a criminal court there to prosecute some of our detainees, and also to put together a reconciliation program to send some of the lower-level threats back to their villages. And it was really that experience on a day-to-day basis, working with our sister services, our coalition partners, and even the Afghan government, as corrupt and dysfunctional as it was at times. But we still managed to get things done every day, because we accepted that we needed to put our service above our own self-interest, and we knew that failure in that circumstance was not an option. So that's kind of what I was doing every day in my day-to-day life. And then on those rare occasions when I got a chance to turn on the TV or get on the internet and see the news, and I saw what Congress was doing, or what Congress wasn't doing. And I saw a Congress that really couldn't even execute the most basic functions of government. And it was those kind of contrasting experiences that convinced me that we need some new faces in Congress. We need some new leadership. We need people that have worked in an environment where failure is not an option. And so that's really what did get me in this race. And just the last point that I want to leave you with, folks, and you already know this, but this is a big election coming up in 2012. It's a big election about big ideas, and the results of this election are going to have a lot to say about the direction that we head as a country over the next generation. And you all know that Virginia is probably the biggest of the 50 states in terms of the impact. We all know that this is a huge state at the presidential level, that if President Obama wins Virginia, he'll almost certainly be reelected. We know how important it is to elect Tim Kaine to the Senate and keep the Senate in Democratic hands. What you may not have heard about as much is that Virginia is also a very key state in terms of the House of Representatives. We all know we need to win 25 seats in the House to take back the House for the Democrats. And if we're going to win the House back, we need to win the kind of moderate to conservative, traditionally Republican-leaning districts like this one here in the first. And the good news is, I'm absolutely convinced that we can do it. Not only... Dead silence when I said that. Not only can we win this race because we're going to have a lot of energy and we're going to go at it, but also this is a district that is actually turning our way over time. If you look at kind of the high turnout elections where everybody turned out the last couple cycles, John Kerry, 2004, got about 41% in this district. Governor Kaine, when he was running for governor, got about 46%. President Obama in 2008 got 48%. And Mark Warner, when he's running for Senate, actually won 61% of this district. So it is, over time, it is turning our way, and it's a district that I'm absolutely convinced we can win. But we've got to work harder than we ever have. We have to give more than we've ever given. And if we do that, I'm absolutely convinced that we can win the first, that we can take back the House, that we can elect Tim Kaine to the Senate, and that we can re-elect the President of the United States. So thanks very much.